You're very welcome to the Irish Political Roundup with me, Paul Brophy. I'm joined here outside Leinster House by Fianna Fáil TD for Carlow Kilkenny, Peter Chap Cleere. Deputy Cleere, you're very welcome again to the Irish Political Roundup.
Yeah, delighted to be here, Paul. Good afternoon to you and all your viewers.
Yeah, it's been a very, very busy number of months. You are currently the Fianna Fáil spokesperson on agriculture. There's been a lot of talk about potentially CAP reform, and you were in Brussels recently discussing that with your MEPs.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues out there on the agricultural side of things, Paul. Obviously, being spokesperson for agriculture, we're at the front end of things, and there's a lot of issues out there in terms of TB and Mercosur and the nitrous derogation and the upcoming CAP, and there's challenges in different sectors, tillage, etc. So there's an awful lot of issues out there, but there's a lot of positivity in the agricultural sector as well. It's a huge sector in Irish economy. There's 170,000 people employed in the agricultural sector. It's worth about 20 billion of our national exports are in the agricultural side of things, 10% of our total exports. So it's a huge factor in terms of the economy, but also what it does for rural Ireland in terms of the contribution to make to be the local schools, the local GA clubs can't be underestimated either. So.
And from a Carlow Kilkenny point of view, the last time we were up here in Leinster House, you had a delegation of a community group who are campaigning to make the N25 safer in Kilkenny. There was a meeting there during the week. There has been some developments in the last number of weeks.
Yeah, I have to say that committee, and I just want to put on the record here, the work that committee has done is absolutely phenomenal. And to be fair, there's been more work done in the last 4 months than the previous 4 years. Let's call a spade a spade. And most of it is down to that committee. And I suppose there are additional measures that have now been put in place in terms of the speed limit now has been reduced in the N25. So the speed limit is reduced from 100 back to 80, which will make a difference and will save lives. The traffic cameras, speed cameras are now going up. There's some work has been done in terms of cutting back sightlines for one of the, I think it was 14 exits off the N25. There's been work done there. So there's a huge amount of work has been done, and there's a bit of there's additional roadworks being done in terms of making the road safer as well. And I suppose that's part A, and part two of that, part B of that project then is actually getting the motorway and getting the bypass. That's a bigger project. So that committee we would have met with Darragh O'Brien, I would have facilitated that meeting. It was really positive, really constructive, and there was a commitment there to fund phase 3 and 4 to allow this project go to the next stage.
And there's 7 phases in total. Is that something that should be looked at in the near future, about when we come to these infrastructural projects, that the speed in which they can be delivered, needs to be looked at? I know there needs to be planning and consultation, but you could be looking at years before you actually see diggers on site.
And I'm on the same page. It's really frustrating for me as, I suppose, a politician, an elected representative, the speed at which some of these projects take. Now, I know obviously there's engineering aspects to it, and there's planning aspects to it, and there's potential compulsory purchase orders. There's a lot of work to be done, but the speed for a project to get over the line, to take 5, 6, 7 years is not acceptable in my view. I spoke in the Dáil yesterday about flood relief schemes.
Yes.
And I'll give you an example of Glenmore Road, where I'm from, and we had a flooding incident in 2016.
Right.
It was acknowledged that there would be funding made available in 2018, and planning is actually only going forward now in the next couple of weeks to actually formally put forward a planning place. So 10 years on from the flood event happening, we're only going to the planning stage. So it's way too slow. And that's the one thing I suppose that's frustrating for me as a newly elected TD is I suppose the red tape and the bureaucracy in terms of getting some of these capital projects over the line is very frustrating.
Well, Deputy Chap Cleere, thank you so much for taking time to speak to the Irish Political Round, to Paul and myself.
Thanks, Paul.
We really appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Lovely to talk to you again anytime.